Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We are going to install a water filtration system. Now this is a 7-stage water filtration system with reverse osmosis, UV light and assist pump from New Aqua. Um, uh, New home kitchen renovation. So we're gonna install one of these for the water filtration. Now this is a big unit, all right, and I didn't want to, and I just put a farmhouse sink in the house. And what happens is you kind of get limited as far as space goes, and I don't want to congest the space underneath the sink. Now we do have basements here, so, and it just happens that underneath my basement is my utility room, so makes it perfect for me to set up this system in my utility room, run the water lines up to underneath the sink and connect everything there to the faucet, to the main water line. But everything is happening in the basement underneath the sink. So it's out of the way. Everything's out of the way. It's basically it's in its own environment, and I'm gonna be putting like a big pan underneath it later to basically, if there's any leaks or anything like that, that pan or whatever is gonna basically be the barrier between the unit and the leak. And I believe this unit has a leak protection system in there. So let's stop talking. Let's unbox this. Let's see what's in this box, because there's a lot of things in here that needs to connect to one another. Then we're gonna set it up. The last part should be the easiest part, I hope. All right, so let's do it. All right, so let's open this box. All right. There's going to be many sub boxes in here. And here's the manual, which has all the pictures and all the water line colors and everything in there. Oh, it even has a drain line. Interesting. Didn't know that. Cool. That makes things a little bit more interesting, because I did not know it has a drain line. But hey, we'll figure it out together, right? So let's see what the drain line is for. All right, we're gonna go through the boxes real quick. Let's see what's in each box, just to get a clear idea. All right, so this is the filter box, so it has all the filters in there. This is all the parts, drain and whatnot. And what is this? Filter protection valve. Guess we need this too. All right. This is the mother load of the boxes. This is where everything is set up in here. Oh, I opened it upside down, so hopefully nothing will fall. Here we go. All right, and comes with the little faucet, which I'm not going to be using this. I got my own faucet because I wanted to match the whole kitchen setup, which is black finish. This one's chrome, so I don't need this. Okay. So, good thing is everything is already set up except the water line, right? So, this is the water line. This is all the line that's going to be connected to all the ins and outs. Here's a bunch of connectors here that we're going to possibly use. Bunch of connectors here. Quartz tube. Reverse osmosis. And these are the tools to tighten the stuff. I believe this is the drain plug. And this is a TDS meter. All right, so we'll get to it. We will get to all of this. This is a lot of stuff. And valves. All right. Last but not least is the reserve tank. Now, this is a 3.5, let's see, 18 liter, 4.5 gallon, 4.5 gallon tank. This tank is big. Most of the reverse osmosis tanks that I've seen, they're about half the size. But, you know, we're a big family, so this tank is massive. It's huge. Man, oh man, oh man. This is impressive. This is impressive. Okay. So, now this is a 7-stage system. What does this mean? This has 7 stages of filtration system to include the UV light which will kill the bacteria, and it has an assist pump. Why does it need an assist pump? Well, the water is going through way too many layers, and the home PSI is not going to be enough to push the water through this whole system. And when you open the faucet, it pretty much is going to come out. If there's no pump, it's going to come out very, 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 very slow. And I mean, dying, killing you. That is so slow. Okay, so this is why it has a pump assist to basically create pressure as the water is going through the filtration system. It's going to create an assist, create a PSI that's high enough to make the water flow basically at a normal rate. So before anything, we're going to go through the manual and see what needs to be put where. And yeah, I just hope I don't need to do too many cuts and connects, to be honest with you. Okay. So the first thing that shows up in here, let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I could already tell the red line is the feed tube. Okay. The red line is the feed tube. This is basically where the main water comes in from. Okay. Now, this is a 1/4 inch tubing. I have a 3/4 inch coming in from the main line, but I do have a coupler that I'm going to use the coupler to basically transition from the coming in into the red. Okay. But before I get there, this is the water. Uh, this is the water guard. Now, you could choose to leave this in, or you could choose not to install this. This is the unit that shuts off the main water coming in into the system. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. It's a genius idea. It's very simple. You have these little tablets. Okay, now if you ever um, gotten a T-shirt that's compressed into a very small piece, small packaging? What that is basically um, they shrinked it to that point. Or actually, you know what? Why am I going that far? A cotton ball, okay? A compressed cotton ball. Now, what happens is when these tablets get exposed to water, they expand. Okay, and these tablets go in here like so. They fit in there, and this kind of, you close this. When this is closed, the water flow, it's going. So this is in and this is out. Main water goes in from here, comes out from there, right? And when there's a leak, as this sits at the bottom of the cabinet, and once it detects a leak, once the water starts to collect, the bottom of the tablet right here is going to start absorbing the water. Once the water is absorbed, what's going to happen is it's going to kick this piece up. Once it kicks this piece up, this valve right here shuts off the water flow. So as this is coming in, it shuts off the water flow. This is basically is going to the unit itself. This is where the main line goes in. This is where the main line comes out. Now, I'm debating whether if I want to use this or not because it's not going to be under the sink. I may or may not use it. We'll see. I haven't decided on it yet. If I do use it, I'm going to show you guys how it's done. Um, and then we're going to move on to next. I still don't know why we need a drain. That's what I would like to know. All right. So, so this is this little angle. This is for the reverse osmosis. This is for the reverse tank. This gets screwed on in here. Direction says use silicone tape or Teflon tape, which is included in the package. So we're going to apply some Teflon tape here. Okay, Teflon tape applied. Twist on. All right, this is going to be hand tight. We're going to move on to next. Okay, now we're going to do membrane installation. Now, this part is actually pretty heavy. Okay, now you have membrane installation. I want to see if it has a guide of which membrane goes to where on here on the unit itself, which it doesn't. I don't see which membrane goes where, but in the book it shows you which membranes goes into what. So you get the first, second, and third. Um, okay, so this comes with a black gasket in here, so make sure you don't lose that. This is the carbon. Sebastian! All right. So this with the gasket on top. This is the sediment filter. Sediment filter is the first filter that goes in. And then you have the carbon filter, which is the last one that goes in. And if I kind of put this here, no, that doesn't work. Okay. All right, so we're gonna put these in. And I'm just hand tying these right now. And then we're gonna grab the tool. Okay, the tool goes underneath like so. And then you're gonna basically hand tie it like so. All right, so now the system is in. Now we need to put the reverse osmosis filter also in here. Okay, so this membrane that says reverse osmosis goes into this part right there. So we're gonna have to take this part out and then install this in there. So here, let's open this. Now this end that has the gaskets on there, this is the one that goes on first. And then you're gonna close this is important for you to make sure you don't rush this and make sure the cap goes in correctly, because this is where you want to make sure there's no water leaks, right? So you got to push this membrane in all the way before you can put this uh, cap back on, or else it's not going to work. And you also have this little tool. Well, it's not going to work with this one, but if you can see, this is a little flexible as far as the location and everything goes, sort of. So you have this little bracket here. You're going to hand tighten this. make sure everything's in place, and then we're gonna kind of tilt everything back. So now we have everything set up. Now let's go to the next step, which is going to be the lines. I believe this is because this is yellow, that's where the yellow is going to be connected to. Now next is an elbow installation. Okay, you have supposed to have an outlet, but I don't see an outlet on this. I do not see an outlet. Okay, maybe this is not what I need. Okay, so actually, I don't need to do anything because that's already connected. So most of the stuff is connected. I don't need to do any of the red line connections because that's already done. So now, yellow line goes to the reverse osmosis. I just want to make sure that I'm on the 7th stage. Here we go. All right. So this is the 7th stage one. Okay, 7th stage has the yellow line going to the reverse osmosis. Blue line is the feet going in to here. But then we also have another tube here. So I'm not quite sure. I am not quite sure which one connects to what. So let me figure this out and I'll be right back. Okay, I think I have the whole thing figured out. It's kind of confusing, but it's almost straightforward. So red line goes into the system. Okay. Yellow line goes into the reserve tank. Okay. And then you have this line, this flow here. This is the black drain line. So this is the one that goes to the drain. And the last line up here, this is the line that goes to the faucet. This is the last port, which it goes through the reserve, the UV light, and then it goes to the faucet itself. So that's how we're going to set up the whole thing. Um, I believe these are all extra parts that they included in here. But what I need to do is basically use a coupler of a 3/4 inch to a 1/4 inch connector, which which I have a 3/4 inch line coming in from the main faucet that will be this going into a 3/4 inch to a 1/4 inch connection. So basically it'll connect to here. Now, am I gonna go and use this? I don't know, guys. I'm kind of debating if I want to use it or not, but I may. But also, don't forget, there's also this filter protection valve. There's also another valve that will connect to the main line. So somewhere between the 3/4 inch and this, we're gonna have a connection. So let's go connect these. I'm gonna show you guys where it's gonna sit, where the final resting place of this is gonna be, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because now we have this whole thing set up. Everything's it's just basically 4 lines, right? And the 4th line being the blue line, this is basically connects here, which I'm not gonna use the blue because I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna use. And we have water coming in and water going out. So it's pretty self-explanatory, I believe. But then again, this part, this is the part that got me confused, but this basically goes out to the drain. So here, the K line, which is that, connect the black tubing from the flow restrictor to the drain saddle. So I already installed the drain saddle. I'm going to show you guys upstairs what it looks like. So let's do it. Let's put these together. All right, guys. So let me show you guys what I mean. So this is the black drain line that I passed through the hole up there. So I have 3 holes there, or 2 holes, whatever. So the 3/4, this is the main line feed. This is the line that goes back to the faucet upstairs, and this is the drain line. So 3 lines that's going to connect to this and the reverse osmosis tank. So let's set this up the way I want it to be set up. And the good thing is that I have electric outlet right here, so everything's going to get connected there. So I don't have to do any more wiring. So let's put everything in place where the final destination is going to be, and then we're going to connect all the lines. So we're going to have to do some cuts and whatnot. So, all right. And I am not going to mount this to the wall because I want the freedom of being able to move this around if I need to. All right. So first one I'm going to connect is the black drain line, which is down here. Let's get that out of the way. So now that's out of the way, this one is going to be this line that's going to go to the faucet. So I am going to actually give it a little long slack, only because just to have enough slack. There we go. So this connects to this. That's the feed line into the faucet. Now, this is the 3/4 inch. Same thing, I'm going to give this a good slack. This way there's no kinks of anything else. So this is the 3/4 inch connector. So now this is connected, and then the yellow line is the last line I'm going to connect. Now, so I need a small piece of the red line to connect from here, like so, to this valve flow, filter protection valve. So the flow is this way. So we're gonna push this in like so. Now this, I think I'm gonna use. Why not, right? Why not? We're gonna see where we're gonna leave this, somewhere around here. And we have enough line to do what we wanted to do. So I'm gonna cut this line. Okay. So we're gonna have this coming in from this part. Now this is the important part. This has in and out written on it. So you got in, basically this one's in, because this coming from the main water line, and out. This goes into this. Okay, and then we'll mount everything up the way I want it to mount up. I might just mount it to the wall like this, just to be a little bit more organized or whatnot. And now the last piece of the puzzle is the reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is, I believe, pressure fit, which you run the yellow line through this, you put it in here, and you just tighten it. Okay. All right. So this is tightened, and you notice I didn't cut the yellow line. I don't want to cut any of these lines, to be honest with you. I want it to stay the way it came. So now the system is done. It's finished, right? But we're not quite done yet. We're gonna go turn the water on, and then we're gonna turn the faucet on so the water can actually flow through the whole system before I plug it in into anything. So let's do that. All right, guys, so this is where the magic happens. So this is the drain line. This is the main water line. We're gonna turn this on now. Okay. I have a leak. This is leaking right now, so we're gonna stop it and fix that leak real quick. Okay, the leak is fixed. The water's flowing. I'm gonna open this. It's gonna take a while for water to come out from here because the reserve tank is being filled up. But let's go downstairs and make sure there's no leaks there too. So let's do that. Okay, I hear the water coming through. So I may actually put this on, turn this UV light on, and I think this one is for the pump assist, whatever it's called. There we go. So we're waiting for the tank to fill out. We're waiting for the water to start flowing. All right, guys. So 2 things I forgot to do. Look at this. We got a leak. Where? From the UV light. So I forgot to install the UV light, which is this, which is supposed to go into this tube like so, and it's supposed to connect to this and to this, which as the water starts to flow, all this water starts to come out. So that was nerve-wracking. Very, very nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah, bro. Join me in, bro. What is build this hardware?
Let me see if there's any gaskets or whatever that needs to go into this before I put this in. Because there's no gaskets with the tube, which is kind of dumb. So let me just make sure. And there it is. There's a gasket that's supposed to go into this. So I'm going to place that in here like so.
This is a game that lets you do that for free.
All right. We're gonna connect this. To the connector. Make sure there's no moisture or anything on the tube. We're gonna insert the tube in here. Now we're gonna turn the system back on. You know, that was kind of dumb, if you ask me. There was nothing in the instructions that stated to insert the tube in. So now I gotta go turn the main back on, make sure this doesn't leak. So I'm gonna leave the camera here, so if it leaks again, you guys can catch it. Okay, so we have water flowing now. Water's going in. This thing's still leaking. I don't have any water flowing to here yet, which I wonder why. This thing's leaking again. This should not be leaking. Huh, that's leaking again. Alright, let's do this, fix this again, I guess. Alright guys, so I think I fixed the leak. So there's an O-ring that's supposed to go around the glass, then you put this on and it should stop the leak. So I didn't put the UV light in there yet. I just want to make sure it stopped leaking, there's no more leak before I put anything. So now there's water going through here, but before anything there's pressure that needs to be built up, so into the reverse osmosis tank, which is this one. Okay, once that pressure is built up, the pump should stop working once the pressure is built up, and the only time the pump will come on or should come on is when you turn the faucet on. But right now I hear water flowing, but I just heard the pump go off. So because I had this off, I had the reverse osmosis tank off, so I'm going to turn it off again, and then we're going to hear the tank not turn on again. Okay, so the leak, it stopped leaking. There's an O-ring here, okay, that you're supposed to put it over the glass, then tighten it up. I did not put this in yet. This is the UV light. I wanted to make sure there's no water leaking. I turned off the reverse osmosis valve. This is basically how the pressure is built. If you hear, there's no pump working right now because the system has built enough pressure within its system to basically shut it off. As soon as the pressure drops is basically when you turn the faucet on, the pump kicks in. So I'm going to show you guys how it's going to work here. I'm going to turn this valve on. Now you hear the pump working. And the reason the pump is going to be constantly working right now because this needs to fill up. This tank, the reserve tank, needs to fill up fully before the system can build pressure. And once the pressure is built, the system should work optimally. And this should take about 5 to 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes for it to fully fill up. So we're going to wait until this fills up and come back and test the faucet. So let's do that. All right, guys. So I don't know what's wrong with the system, but this is not the pressure I was hoping for. The tank's been pressurized, and this is all the pressure I'm getting. The motor's running. I don't know what gives. I don't know why it's flowing so slow. It's supposed to be flowing a lot faster than this, especially with the pump, with the assist pump the water should be flowing a lot faster. So, all right, guys. So it's day two of the install of the reverse osmosis unit. Now, as you guys saw, I had leaking issue because the UV light was not sitting properly. The gasket wasn't sitting properly. So fix that. I had another leak where the outlet was coming, the water in. Sorry, the water in. I had a leak from the main. That was fixed. Second issue was pressure. Now, um, I was in a rush, and because this reserve tank, it's a 4.5 gallon tank. It's a big tank. So one thing I wasn't letting it do was actually have the tank fill. So took about 45. It takes about 45 minutes to 2 hours for the tank to fill. So I let it sit for about 45 minutes. I came downstairs. It was the pump was still pumping, so the pressure still hasn't built up. So I just left it for a couple of hours. And when I left it for a couple of hours, I came downstairs to check on the pump because the pump continued to work, and the pump works based on pressure. Once the pressure is built, the pump no longer needs to work. So I let it run for about a couple hours, and now the pump is turned off. So now we're gonna go upstairs. We're gonna turn the faucet on because we need to let it on for about 10 minutes to basically have the water flow through the system for 10 minutes, get the carbon, and you're gonna have some little black residue that's from the carbon. It's no big deal. That's just how it works. So we're just gonna have the water run for 10 minutes and see if it holds pressure, right? So that's the key. We need it to hold pressure. This is why this tank is important. This tank is now full. It's heavy. This is where the pressure is built, and this will continuously provide pressure to the system to have a continuous water flow. So let's go upstairs and let's see if this is working. All right, guys, so here he is. Let's see. Let's see if this works. We need constant pressure for at least about 10 minutes. This is the pressure I was looking for. This is what we needed as far as the pressure goes. So as you can see, it is good pressure. Um, it is fast filling. This is basically the speed I was looking for. The previous system I had was a lot slower. So we're gonna let this run for 10 minutes just like this and come back, see if the pressure holds, and then the water will be ready to use. So let's do it. All right, guys, so it's been about 10 minutes and you can see the pressure has dropped tremendously, which is a given because these systems are not built to run for too long because the reserve tank will lose pressure over the course of time. Even though there's a pump assist, it doesn't matter because of the amount of layer it's going through, it is going to lose pressure over time. So, but overall, 10 minutes, it's a long time for these systems to run anyways. uh, Within 3 or 4 minutes, you're good. You're never gonna lose pressure. It'll fill up a pot of water actually. So I'm gonna let the system build pressure again, and I'm gonna fill up a pot of water and see how long it'll take for it to fill up. It shouldn't take long, but overall the system works. Um, I'm gonna taste the water next and see how it tastes. So let's do that. All right, first taste test. No chlorine taste. That's good. The water tastes good. I don't taste anything like a residue. I don't taste anything foul. I don't taste anything that shouldn't be there. Actually, I do not taste chlorine. And smelling it, I don't smell chlorine. Our tap water smells like chlorine galore. It's a lot of chlorine taste in it and smell. So this actually Tastes really good. So, anyways, so that's the installation and review of the 7 stage aqua filter with UV protection or UV cleaning. All right, guys. So now the filter system is connected, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do a test. And what test are we going to do? It's going to be the TDS test. The TDS test is what it stands for is total dissolved solids, impurities, and things like that. Now, the NU Aqua sends you a test to basically run the test. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the tap water and the filtered water. Then we're going to measure what the level is. So excellent level is between 50 to 150. Okay, according to the chart. And from 150 to 50 is good. From 250 to 300 is fair. From 300 to 500 is poor, not good for drinking. So we're gonna test our tap water first and see what measurement is gonna give. So let's do that first. All right, so tap water. All right, now we're gonna turn it on. And now we're gonna insert it into the tap water. So we're gonna let it sit for about 10-15 seconds to see what reading is gonna give. So right now it's reading about 212. And it's pretty consistent. It's not changing. It's staying at 212 at this point. So 212, it's good. Between 150 to 250, that's good. So it is drinkable water, but all water kind of tastes like chlorine most of the time. Okay. So we're gonna do a hold. So 212. All right. All right. So you shake it off and it puts you at 0. Now we're going to do filtered water. Now let's see what the filtered water is going to read. Filtered water is reading at 146. So, oh, and now it just keeps going down. Let's see. 146 consistent. We're going to click on hold. And you can see 146. So between 150, between 50 and 150, it's excellent for drinking. Okay. Now, uh, according to the instructions, we need the water filter to run at least about 100 gallons before we do testing. I haven't run 100 gallons on this thing. I would say maybe I've gone maybe like 3 or 4 gallons. So this test might still be a little immature, but even at this level at 146, it's still a really really excellent reading. So yeah, um, but you know the system works. Installation was a breeze. I had an issue with the pressure not building up, and then that was my fault because I was not letting the reserve tank to fill up completely. And once that filled up, the pressure was built and the water flow. The water flow was great. Other than that, the water tastes great. I tasted the water; it was fantastic. Tasted really good. Now we did the measurement, the TDS measurement. It's putting it at excellent. And again, it's on the threshold of maximum, which is 150. It's at 146, but I'm confident that number will drop eventually at sometime down the line, which I'll do another measurement just to see if that number is going to drop because I want the tank and the system fully kind of incorporate and um, basically have it weather a little bit for it to fully work. So, anyways, If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If leave your comments down below. Let me know if you have the system or not. Yeah. So for now, let's see how this works. Until then, peace out.